Welcome to PD on a Pinch, where you can find big ideas even when you're short on time. In today's session, we're going to talk about using thought trap maps to help students spot and challenge distorted thinking. Before we get started, if we don't know each other yet, I'm Keri. I'm a school counselor at a K-6 school on the beautiful island of Oahu. I am an author and a mom of 3, and I'm also a former gifted but undiagnosed anxious child who got an ADHD diagnosis in adulthood. So a lot of these strategies that I'll be sharing are things that I think would have been really helpful for me as an anxious kid, and they are strategies that I share with my anxious students on a daily basis. Today we're digging into one of my favorite anxiety support tools, the Thought Trap Map. It's a visual CBT tool that helps kids spot when their brain is telling them stories that might not be totally true, and then helps them shift towards more helpful, realistic thinking. So why does this matter? We know that anxiety is fueled by distorted thinking, and kids often believe that their thoughts are facts. So this strategy builds awareness around metacognition and emotion regulation. We also know that visual tools support comprehension and retention. So when students are experiencing anxiety, they get caught in that web of distorted thinking, and they believe that those thoughts are facts. Using the Thought Trap Map helps to externalize those patterns so that they can see what their brain is doing, not just what they're feeling. It's metacognition in kid-friendly form. Before we look at the map, let's just quickly refresh on what thought traps actually are. Thought traps are just another name for cognitive distortions, and they're common culprits in anxiety, depression, and perfectionism. These are those automatic, unhelpful thoughts that make a situation feel worse, like, if I'm not the best, I'm the worst, or she didn't say hi, she must hate me. Recognizing these is the first step to changing them. The Thought Trap Map guides students through 4 steps: what happened, what they thought, what trap it is, and how to flip it. It works like a GPS. If your thinking is stuck in a loop, this helps you reroute. The first step on the map is step 1, what happened. In step 1, we start with what actually happened. We describe the situation or the trigger. We aren't focusing on how the student felt about it or the interpretations or conclusions they're drawing from it. So we're starting with, I didn't get called on in class, not, my teacher hates me. This keeps the map rooted in observable facts, which helps with clarity. In step 2, we're asking the question, what did your brain say to you? When we phrase it this way, we're really externalizing and separating that worry thought from themselves. We're asking, what did your brain say to you? We're trying to capture that automatic negative thought. We don't want to sanitize it. We want to use their exact words. So it could be something like, everyone thinks I'm dumb, or I'm going to fail. We want to remind students, your brain is trying to protect you. It just gets a little dramatic sometimes. When we've really narrowed down the thought, we want to figure out what trap our thought is falling into. This is where we really get to do the detective work to figure out what trap the thought is falling into. You can use something like a visual thought trap menu with symbols to represent each cognitive distortion. The goal here is to label the thought, not judge it. This step just builds awareness that thoughts are not always facts. Once we've identified the trigger and the thought and the trap, now it's time to build a more helpful, realistic thought. In step 4, we're going to flip the thought, not with sunshine and rainbows, but with balanced, realistic thoughts. This takes a lot of practice, but we want our students to land somewhere in the realm of, even if I mess up, it doesn't mean I'm stupid, or I don't actually know what other people are thinking. We can give them sentence starters, like another way to look at this is, or a more helpful thought might be. Let's look at an example. Using the 4 T's, we'll start with step 1, the trigger. So the trigger is that the student didn't get picked for a group in class. Then we move on to step 2, the thought. The thought is, they all hate me and think I'm weird. So remember, in step 1, we're not using a feeling, we're just looking at what actually happened. And in step 2, we're asking them to identify what their brain said. This helps them to separate the worry from themselves. Then we can move on to step 3, identifying the trap. And this is mind reading because they're assuming that they know what others are thinking. Then we can move on to step 4, transforming our thought. So maybe they could land on something like, maybe they all just pick their friends. I can ask to be included next time. So once they work through the thought map, they're able to see a new possibility, and then they can take action instead of spiraling. So if you have students who are engaging in maladaptive thinking that gets them stuck in these anxious thought loops, try using the Thought Trap Map. This helps them to analyze and reframe their thought to be more realistic and helpful so that they don't get stuck. The Thought Trap Map is a practical visual CBT tool that gives anxious students a new lens on their thoughts. I have a free download for you. You can scan this QR code right here, or you can use the link below in the caption. It'll walk the students through all 4 steps using the 4 T's, and there's also a visual of all of the thought traps that they might be using. And if you want to dive even deeper, you can get my full-length 1-hour PD session on using CBT to help students with anxiety in the school setting. Again, you can scan the QR code or you can use the link down below in the caption. I want to leave you with as many tools as possible. This is a lesson that I use with my 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students on cognitive distortions. It really helps them to understand the thinking patterns as they use these puzzles to match up thought traps to examples that they might be experiencing in their own life, and it walks them through reframing those maladaptive thoughts. And last but not least, I have my Worry Warriors guidebook and journal for kids that's available, and it walks students through every step of the process of identifying their anxious thoughts, becoming familiar and more comfortable with them, and knowing exactly what to do when they show up. Again, you can scan the QR code right here on the screen or find the link down below in the caption. Before you go, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a school counseling idea, and follow me on all your favorite social media platforms at Counselor Keri. I'll talk to you soon.